One of my Marine POW friends, he had an expression, pain purifies, and there's a lot of truth in that, in leadership development. It's not easy. If leadership development and growing to be a better leader was easy, then everybody would just wake up every morning and it's like putting on another shirt. You know, I'm getting a little better, dressing up a little nicer as a leader. But it's not like that. Because in leadership development, the only way you develop is you have to do something different. You have to grow. That's change. Change is difficult. Pain purifies. You have to understand that pain purifies. I'll give you an example. To be a better listener, that's a difficult thing for many of us. It's the most powerful thing a leader can do, and it's one of the most difficult things that most leaders have to do, and that is to learn to listen, because you're out of control. You can't control the agenda. You have to be patient. You have to set your ideas aside for long enough to be able to hear this person's ideas. It's painful. It's difficult. But to become a better leader, you do have to learn to listen better for most every one of us. So there's an example of how pain purifies.
Use the Gain More Advantage. Hi there, I'm Dr. John Kenworthy, and I'm so glad that you have joined me here so that I can share with you about the Gain More Advantage leadership development model. The Gain More Advantage is a pragmatic, personal, and team learning model. It's based on research in the relatively new field of psychology of social cognitive neuroscience. That is, it represents the way we interact with others, how we think, and how our wonderful brains work. And it works because human beings have a commonality in the way we develop our abilities, learn, create, communicate, and the way we choose how we live our life. The precept is that as a human being, you have a brain. You can choose how you think and what, and that all of your endeavours require that you have relationships with other human beings. So let me tell you about the Gain More model. And we'll start with, why is it called Gain More? Well, each letter represents a distinct step in the learning and development process. G stands for goals, and it incorporates the values and belief system for a particular person and the vision of their goal. So why is there no V and B and V? Well, basically it didn't make for a memorable mnemonic. Our goals, values and beliefs determine what we want from life, and thus everything that we do or do not do. A stands for alignment and attitude. Our alignment is the path we are on towards our destination. And it's worth mentioning here that the destination of your particular path, the way you are aligned, determines what destination you reach. To achieve your own desired goal in life may or may not be at the end of your chosen path. There are also 4 ways or modes of alignment. We can be in push mode, which is like running full pelt constantly, an exhausting and energy zapping mode. You may be in pull mode, which is like sailing a yacht, using the wind, current and tides, all the environmental elements, and great skill to navigate your chosen route. Sadly, many people are in the 3rd mode, which is drift mode. They get blown by the winds of the environment and the fancies of other people. They end up, well, wherever they end up. The 4th mode is the push me, pull you mode. Like the mythical creature from Dr. Dolittle, this mode tries pushing in one direction while simultaneously being pulled in another. People in this mode of alignment are often paralysed and unable to make suitable choices to align themselves on the right path to achieve their own goal. Our attitude determines how we approach the path we have chosen. It's important to mention here that you choose your own attitude. You can be optimistic or pessimistic. You can be growth-minded or fixed. You can be a cause for your life, or you can choose to be at the effect of others and the environment. Attitude is a choice. I stands for influence. And according to Dr. John C. Maxwell, leadership is influence. Nothing more, nothing less. How we influence ourselves and others determines the followership we have. And which level of influence we have with another person determines how easily we can get others to do things. actions on our behalf. N stands for nature and network. Our nature, or as some will refer to it as our character or our personality, is shown as a result of all the preceding elements. We change our nature by changing one or more of our goals, our values, our beliefs, our attitude, our alignment, or the way we influence others. Our network refers to other people with whom we connect, our relationships, those people we associate with, and indeed our followers and our own leaders, our own bosses. Our network is, of course, external to ourselves, but how we network and the role we play is key to the effectiveness of our influence. M is for motivation. Motivation is something that is generated by the interaction of three aspects of anything we do. We have a goal, we have certain resources, our mind, our body, money, tools, knowledge, skills, and we utilize those resources to satisfy something that we personally value. O is for outcome. Everything that we do, say, or think results in an outcome. This may be tangible and physical, or it may be intangible. Outcomes are immediate, whereas goals are longer term and targets rather than the actual achievement that is an outcome. R stands for review. Every outcome we create is reviewed against our goals, and we reflect on the learning. And numerous studies have shown that people who deliberately, consciously review their day learn more and are more successful. And writing your own review is even better. Finally, E of Game More stands for evaluation. It's closely tied to review in that it is usually the end result of the review process. This is when we have achieved an outcome, reviewed it against our goals, and measured it against our personal values. A positive outcome of evaluation is motivating. A negative one can be demotivating. So there you have it. That's the Game More model, and the Game More advantage is the basis of our work.
Hi, this is Arthur F. Karmauzi, and welcome to Asia's Most Asked Leadership Questions. Today's question is, what are the 3 characteristics of great leaders? So, without further ado, let's see what they are. The first characteristic is certainly the most obvious, but also one of the most difficult, and for some reason, leaders, even though they know it, they don't do it. It is being consistent with what you say and what you do. That means that if you say you are going to do something, make sure you do it. Make sure that you follow through. And if for some reason something happens, well, also make sure that you communicate properly why it's not happening. Communicate with those people to try to come up with a new solution that is going to solve the problem in the same way. And, of course, if you're going to give consequences to something, make sure that people understand those consequences and make sure that you follow through. So if they do something that is not in line with what you are saying, and say, if you do X, you're going to get Y. Well, make sure that they do get Y, okay? Whether it's positive or negative. The need for this is to develop trust. Without trust, people basically just don't respect you as a leader, okay? And you can still have consequences and provide an element of trust and caring. Why? Because people will listen to you. They acknowledge that, hey, okay, this guy actually will follow through with what he says, positive or negative. Consistency is essential. Be the person that you say you are. Do the things that you say you're going to do. Leadership characteristic number 2. Reduce the risk for excellence. Create an environment where people can feel significant, where people who can bring out their innate desire to be the best that they can be. If you remember when you first started working, do you remember how excited you were, how you knew you could really be excellent in this job? What happened? Okay? Eventually, fear started to come in. And it doesn't matter whether you're at the very low part of the organization, whether you're working on minimum wage, or whether you're the CEO. It's the same kind of thing. The fear of looking stupid, the fear of making a mistake, the fear of doing something that other people are not going to approve of is what prevents you from being your absolute best. So depending on how you organize, how you create that environment, are you going to be creating fear? Are you going to be blaming people? Because if you're blaming people, you know what happens? You are basically saying, I am a victim, and I failed because of this person, because of this person, because of this reason, rather than focusing on the objective. See, if you focus on the end result, if all of the processes to get to that end result can be done differently, are accepted. Hey, you know what? We tried this way. Hey, what did you come up with? Was that a great idea? Or is it like, no, it has to be done this way, and if you don't do it exactly this way, well, then you're going to get screwed. Okay? That doesn't help people to develop their abilities. What fear does is it keeps people at the minimum level of expectation. Now, if that's okay with you, then fear is acceptable. But if you really want to take the time to nurture your people, if you really want to take the time to develop your people into more competent, more loyal, more motivated, more dedicated, creative individuals that can come up with solutions to your problems that you never even thought of, you're going to have to trust them. You're going to have to trust that in the end, your people do want to be excellent. You're going to have to trust that fear, the creation of fear in your organization, is limiting them, and you want to create a risk-free environment, which also means communication. It means that you got to get your people to trust that what they say to you is not going to get you to react to them and make them feel small. That if they make a mistake, you're not going to blame them and basically say it's your fault. Because you know what? Blaming never solves the problem. What it does is it basically severs relationships and severs trust. Focusing on the objective solves the problem. Okay, you made a mistake. Now what can we do about it? Let's move forward. Okay, what did you learn from the mistake? How can we create excellence together? How am I doing as a leader? Here's what I think about you. Are you okay with me being candid with what I see? And if I'm wrong, please tell me. Create the open communication. Create that trust. Create the opportunity for people to tell you what they feel, what they think, what they see, and you will develop people who will do anything for you. People who are going to work at their absolute best level, and they may make mistakes on the way. These people are the ones that are going to be the most competent after a short period of time. So now the next one is leadership characteristic number 3. The alignment between your senior team and your organization's brand. See, you and your senior team are setting the example for the entire organization. You are setting the direction. If you're always fighting, if you're always disagreeing, well, you know what? That doesn't look good to everyone else. They don't see you as congruent. And even worse, if your people, your senior team, and you are not aligned with what your organization really represents, okay, well, then people aren't going to really believe in what they're doing. See, what are you really selling? If you're selling pipes, are you just selling pipes? Or are you selling the ability to transport water and fuel and energy to all parts of the world so that people can live better lives? If you're selling toys, are you just selling toys, or are you selling the opportunity for children around the world to be educated and entertained? What do you really sell? And do you and your senior team really believe it? Are you focusing on the objective of creating that in your organization and around the world to all of your customers? If you believe it, if you day by day live your brand, if you cooperate and focus on the objective with your senior team, you will be setting an example for the rest of your organization. If you don't, they're going to see you as incongruent. They're going to say, well, if this person doesn't do it, if the leader doesn't do it, well then what can I do? If you do have this alignment, and you express it and communicate it to your people on a regular basis, if you tell them what they are really doing, are they just employees or are they part of this greater purpose, this greater idea of what your organization is representing? If they feel like their job is important because it is part of a greater event, of a greater result, whatever it is that your company end result is for your products or services, then they're going to feel like they're doing something great. Doesn't matter what job they have, they are a part of something great. Set the example so that people don't just have jobs, so that people have missions in their life and they are achieving those missions through your organization, through your brand, and through the guidance of you and your senior team. So that's it for the 3 characteristics of great leaders. Stay tuned next time when we ask the question, what do I do with a problem employee? Until then, this is Arthur F. Carmazzi wishing you great success. So if you like this video and you'd like to see more like it, visit leadershipfaq.com. That's leadershipfaq.com. Sign up and you get all of Asia's Most Asked leadership questions. And if you happen to have a burning question about leadership, email me personally at afc@carmazzi.net. This is Arthur F. Carmazzi wishing you great success.